Hello and welcome. I am going to show you the Orzhov Afterlife deck that I've been playing with in Ranked since Throne of Eldraine has come out. So we'll just try to do a quick look at all the cards and then do a couple gameplay videos for you here. So start things off, we've got the Tithe Taker, slow down some of those blue, Orzhov, for the Death Touch and Afterlife, Cruel Celebrant. Your pretty standard Afterlife deck. I've only got one Midnight Reaper in the deck. I had an extra slot and he goes good. I didn't feel like he was good enough. I know that sounds weird for an Orzhov Afterlife deck to have more copies of him in. So I just threw him in there. Murderous Rider might feel like an odd add, but essentially it just does what Mortify does, but you can target planeswalkers, and it's just great removal and an extra body in case you need it. So you can never have too much removal as far as I'm concerned. It's a nice piece to throw in. Mortify, obviously, destroy creature enchantment. A lot of enchantments in the current set. So, for Seraph of the Scales. For Teysa to get the double triggers, not only for the Cruel Celebrant, but also for the Afterlife mechanic. And then a couple of Sorens, bring things back, plus the old lifelink thing to keep me going. Here's a quick look at the lands. So now I'm going to go in and do a couple of videos. And yeah. So here's our first match. And yeah, not a bad hand. I got a couple 2-drops there. Obviously, after looking at the deck list, there's no 1-drops in here. I am doing the audio after the fact, but I'll try and just kind of walk you through what some of my thoughts were as I was playing the matches. So here I'm going to get the Oligarch down, put some pressure on him, or even if I have to trade, it's still, I get the Afterlife mechanic, which is cool. I doubt they'll block. They don't want to lose their mana ramp, so definitely swing in here. Even if they do, I'm more than happy to make that trade. Get down the Enforcer. They're doing some green, so they could have plus black. They could have any number of things they throw down. Rankle, he's got the haste, so he's going to hit me over the top. And I'll probably just remove him. 3/3 flyer over the top with a bunch of cool options anytime he deals damage. I always hate to get rid of the Sorin, but it seems like a good fit for now. Get the Rankle out of the way. Swing in for 2. Keeping the Enforcer back with the Death Touch in case they've got, Pack Beasts, something else that has haste come in that could do a lot of damage. It'll scare them off from attacking. Yeah, they're like, what do I want to destroy here? Go ahead and destroy them. It's one of the things I love about the Afterlife mechanic is at least you get something. So much removal in almost every deck nowadays that it's one cool thing about the whole Afterlife mechanic is at least as they pick off your stuff, it replaces itself somewhat in a way. And unless they got a lot of flyers, other than Rankle, maybe Spawn of Mayhem possibly in this deck, nothing wrong with a couple of 1/1 flyers flying over the top and dinging them each turn. So Seraph of the Scales, obvious play here. I'll swing in first with the Oligarch. doubt he'll block. One of my favorite cards in the whole deck. Such a great bomb. Doesn't surprise me that they immediately target it, but unlike most bombs that get removed, you get your afterlife mechanic there, so at least it's not a total wash. There's the Spawn of Mayhem. Really good card. Definitely going to be targeting that. Get that out of the way. And then I'm pretty sure I swing from there. I contemplated throwing down the Seraph, but it just made more sense to get rid of the Spawn. Went with a pretty, just trying to keep the aggression on. I'm at 17 life, they're at 11. Opportunity to keep the heat up, get in 5 more damage. Or debated keeping the Orzhov Enforcer back there just to scare off really any big attacks, but with the Oligarch having Vigilance, wasn't necessary. I thought about throwing down the Cruel Celebrant. Probably would have been the proper play there, but you can never go wrong with the Seraph as well. I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer there, but either way, it definitely set me up for the next turn. Vivian Arcbo is a pretty cool card. I haven't actually played with it in a deck. I always thought about it just because the prevalence of Simic Flash. Figured it might be a way to get around all the counter spells because you're not actually casting something from your hand when you activate the arc bow. You can just go find something and throw it directly on the battlefield. That is assuming you can get the card itself onto the battlefield. I think the opponent recognized it there. You know, had the flyover plus had the Cruel Celebrant in my hand still. So this match is a Simic green-blue match. And I definitely liked my opening hand, and then kind of just drew more pieces. As usual, to keep up the aggression, throw it on the 2-1 with vigilance. In easily a trade that I'm willing to make, but I wanted to get the Celebrant down. That way, if they do decide to trade it, which usually green doesn't want to get rid of its ramp, excuse me. But if it had wanted to trade, then I'd at least get that payoff from the Celebrant being out. There's the Leafkin, some more mana ramp for him. Here, Teysa was kind of my choice. Not that Sorin would have been a bad choice either, because I could have started pinging him and building up his loyalty counters. But I just wanted to double up on any effects from Cruel Celebrant, plus the Afterlife tokens in case anything died. Not the most powerful card in the world, but a great piece for this deck. They're kind of just peeking through my stuff here. Definitely lots of mana ramp. They still got 2 more on the board here that they can use, plus the 1 land. Threw Sorin down so I could start getting some life gain going and start pinging him. That way, if anything did die, I could make sure I have him built up and can bring stuff back. And I swing in with the Oligarch here. I wanted to go with the Teysa, but I was just too nervous that they might be willing to trade the both of the elves to kill it. And I didn't want to have to lose -4 my Sorin just to get that back. But they're still peeking at Teysa. Anytime you start seeing this, you always know that's a sign of the Hydroid Krasis getting ready to drop out, which is why it's so nice to have the removal pieces, in this case, Mortify. Yeah, they gain the life, but I'm going to instantly mortify it and then get in a couple pieces of damage. And I still don't have the mana to get the Teysa back out there, but I can get the Tithe Taker out. And I think they have another Krasis. Maybe it's not on this turn. Yep, yeah, it is. So after they cast this Krasis, I swing in with the Oligarch and the Tithe Taker. And really my thinking behind that was, I hope they block one or both of these, so that way I can get some Afterlife tokens to block that Krasis. So I throw down Teysa to double those up. Plus, it again helps double up the triggers for Cruel Celebrant, ping them for some life, gain me a little bit of life. And luckily, he did decide to block, which was cool because then I got my chump blockers and pinged them for a little bit. I considered bringing back the Oligarch, but I didn't see much of a point in it. I've still got plenty out there on the board. I've got a good board state. I just wanted to make sure my Sorin was nice and healthy. There's the Oko. Very good card. This is a card that put a lot of pressure on me. Obviously, it's a great card. It's a great Planeswalker. And I think they target my Celebrant here to turn off its triggers, which was wise. And really my thinking after seeing it come out was just to go all out on the Oko, get that off the board. I don't want them to start swapping food tokens with me for all my best stuff. So I really do try to go all out at least for a turn to take out that Oko. Fortunately for me, I got another Cruel Celebrant here, which was awesome. And really, I just pretty much sent everything everything at the Oko. I was even willing to sacrifice the Teysa, just thinking, get in whatever damage I can on the Oko. The cool thing about the Sorin in this situation is you can see they're about to kill my my first Cruel Celebrant, which they had turned into a 3/3 creature that doesn't have those cool die triggers. But with Sorin, I'm able to bring that right back, which becomes very handy. See, and there's just kind of one of my favorite things about the deck. You know, it's the opponent's trying to protect his Oko for good reason, and he's punished for all those blocks that he did. And I get tokens in return. So it just really allows me to apply so much pressure. This was a decent deck prior to rotation. But with rotation, I think it's been performing better for me than it was prior to rotation. But with Throne of Eldraine, even though there's not a lot of Throne of Eldraine cards in this deck, I've just noticed a lot better win rate for me personally. See, and they replaced the lower life Oko with a new Oko. And they got my Teysa there, which was a good move on their part. But here I bring back the Cruel Celebrant with my Sorin. You know, still got a really good board state. I've got 3 flyers with the Cruel Celebrant. If they decide to block and kill any of my creatures, that just pings them for the extra damage. Obviously, they have to block. Some things, I think the opponent realizes that and scoops in this situation. They just kind of run through the math. Good matchup. Oko decks can be tough. Simic Flash, or Simic in general, can be tough. I mentioned Simic Flash there. This next match is against Mono Green. I did have a match I played against Simic Flash recently. It was after I recorded these videos, and unfortunately I didn't record the match of the Orzhov Afterlife against the Simic Flash. I think it was right at the beginning of the gold tier. I was able to pull out a win in the one time I've come up against that deck, which I'm surprised I haven't come up with more in ranked because I typically do see that a lot. And I was just able to get enough 2 drops to wiggle my way around all their counters and was able to pull out the win. But this one is a mono green matchup. When I was initially throwing out the Orzhov Enforcer here, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I can kill either one of these guys, but I also, if they have a questing beast that they get out quick, I want to block that without even thinking that, that it can't block questing beast because questing beast can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Here I decided to take out the Pelt Collector. Just because I didn't want that thing getting big or bigger. They have the Wildborn Preserver, which can also get bigger, but it's more resource. Requires more resources to get bigger. The Pelt Collector, they cast a creature, it gets bigger instantly. The Wildborn Preserver, they cast a creature, they also have to tap mana on top of that to make it bigger. That's why I took out the Pelt Collector first. So here, I cast the Sorin. I thought about the Teysa, but I decided to go with the Sorin. Bring out my other Orzhov Enforcer from the graveyard. Really, again, to just scare them off attacking. Here I forgot the Preserver had reach, and I do oops. But yeah, just to scare them off attacking. Or if they decided to attack, gladly make a trade. They do eventually get a questing beast out, but I think it's a few turns down the road. So here I throw out the Seraph of the Scales. At this point, I think I, again, wanted to just really keep the pressure up on them. They're still at a very good amount of life. And wanted to get the Seraph out, start hitting them with the Vigilance and or the Death Touch. Thought they were going to beef up the Preserver there, but I think they go with another Growth Chamber Guardian. Here I just wanted to get a Cruel Celebrant on the board. I mean, it's just such a huge piece of this deck. And there's just so much value that gets out of that card staying on the board. In this case, with the Seraph being out there, that's drawing more attention away from the Celebrant being out there. Here I bring out my other Orzhov Enforcer. That way, if they were able to pull off some sort of tricky, pull off something to get rid of the Seraph, I've still got the Enforcers out there, even though they can't block the Questing Beast. But this with the Seraph out there, they can. And I think in this situation, I trade. It's a trade I'm willing to make to get rid of the Beast. Obviously, I get the Cruel Celebrant triggers. I get the Afterlife tokens. And I get rid of a pesky Questing Beast. I think they get another Questing Beast here in a minute. So in this case, I considered shocking in the Godless Shrine, playing the second Cruel Celebrant as well as the Reaper, but I decided to go with Teysa instead to double up on my Cruel Celebrant triggers. Even though they can block with the reach in this situation, I figured it was still a good trade. I'm still going to get 2 damage because of Cruel Celebrant, and then 2 damage from the 2 tokens that got through. Just, again, trying to be aggressive in this situation, knowing they likely got some big boys in this deck. And here I can't block the Questing Beast at all. And it has this awesome ability where whenever it deals damage to a player, it also deals that damage to a planeswalker. So right here, I make the mistake of, I could have won the game by dropping my other Cruel Celebrant and then attacking with everything. Or even just the Orzhov Enforcers and the 2 flyers. I didn't catch that. Instead, I just attacked first. Which, I mean, not the end of the world. Everybody makes mistakes. But it would have ended the game. I still end up getting the win here. I drop the Sorin after this and bring back a Seraph. And then I get the win shortly after that. But yeah, Orzhov Afterlife, not the strongest deck in the world, especially prior to rotation. I really enjoy the deck. It's a fun deck. It's been performing very strong for me since rotation has happened. I'm currently in gold level in ranked that I got there strictly with this deck. I know that's not the hugest accomplishment in the world, but I'm going to play around with some other decks. And then I may end up coming back to this one. But I hope you have enjoyed the video, the gameplay, the deck. Let me know what you think of it. Give me your opinion. But again, thank you very much for watching. I'll throw up the deck one last time and have a good one.